Awesome, guys. If you're watching the replay, again, thank you guys for the guys that are jumping on here live. I promised energy to you guys if you guys bring me energy. So if you can type in the chat, energy. If you're watching the replay, go freaking make a post in the Brotherhood group about energy, because I'm going to give you guys everything that I can. And I truly believe this just makes things more fun. You get more out of the experience. But I'm going to give you guys everything I have, but I can only do it if you guys give me everything you have as well. I'm going to show up as best as I can, but I truly do thrive off of energy. You guys have seen when we had like over 50 people sometimes on a Facebook Live in the Brotherhood. I go freaking crazy. I start yelling at everyone, and it's just a lot more fun. What I'm going to be sharing with you guys today is something I never shared with anyone, and it's actually how you can actually go out there and create a #1 ranked podcast and get over 100 5-star reviews in under 30 days, even if you haven't launched a show or if you don't have a big following. Again, like I said right before this training, is that if you have a big following, then great. This will work very, very well for you. And if you have no following, it's just going to take more guerrilla marketing, more effort to make this successful. I'm not going to sit here and tell you that this isn't going to be work. It's really stupid. And hopefully by now, if you're on a training like this, you know that you have to put in some capacity of work to be able to get a result. If you've put in massive work in your life, and that's why you have a following and a tight-knit group of past customers, this will be easy because you've been putting in the work. Now, if you haven't been putting in the work, then this is going to be the time where you're going to do it. The good thing is I'm going to give you guys a proven system that I don't believe any podcast trainers out there are actually doing. He says, if you want a magic pill, you're in the wrong place. Absolutely. We're giving you guys the thing to create sustainability, right? Mo's on here, and he wouldn't tell you guys to take steroids if you want to have sustainability of a fit body and fit health for the rest of your life. A lot of people want to take steroids. Those are people that want things really quick and not to put in the work. And of course, there's things that can still benefit you that will get you there faster. And that's what I'm going to share with you guys here today. Now, what I'm not going to get into, and a couple of bonuses that I have for you guys that stay to the end, which is kind of funny to say because normally that's what you say if you're going to sell people stuff, but you guys already bought everything. So a couple of things that I'm going to give you guys to support you in this journey. And remember, I want you guys to listen, but I also want you guys to hear. So if you guys can type in the chat, listen and hear. The definition of listen is like you're listening to me, right? You can technically hear my voice. But the real actual word for hearing is to understand. And this is the one thing that I see that's missing and why I wanted to do this live is I could share with you guys how to do all this stuff. And you could listen to it, read a book and listen to it, listen to everything that's going on, but then not hear it. I remember my mentor, Russell Brunson, he was chatting with me and he had me watch 6 hours of video. So just think about me going through 6 hours of video. I took 150 notes. It was about 25 pages in this training. I came back to him and I said, Russell, check this out. I took a note on everything. I know what everyone said. I knew how many testimonials they used, how many slides they used in their talk. Like I knew everything about it. And I missed the one thing that he wanted me to see, meaning that I was listening, but I wasn't hearing. I didn't go one step deeper to understand why to do certain things. And that thing was like, why are they using the testimonials that they're using? What type of testimonial is it? It went right over my head. Because I was listening based on where I was at, and you need that coach or a mentor to unveil things so that you can actually hear the right things. And this is why when you read different books, you read a book one time, 2 years, you read the book again, and you don't remember reading any of the things that you read this time because now you're reading it through a new lens. The goal is to read it from a lens of somebody who's already done it. So I want you guys to know that the stuff I'm teaching here today is the same stuff that I use to be able to launch a podcast without a following. Back in 2016, become #1 ranked over Tony Robbins, over Eric Worre Network Marketing Pro, over everyone. I mean, every new podcast in 2016 for 8 weeks, we crushed. And to the point where we got our podcast up to 33 in all of the United States in our categories. And our categories weren't some BS category like people do on Amazon bestsellers. Not to say that that's not a good thing to do. Yet our categories were health, business, and education. Those are not some BS categories that you can go into and like dominate in. Those are the leading actual categories that we've broken the actual top 100 podcasts in all 3 of those ranking systems. We've broken top 100 in all the United States in all 3 categories. So the things I'm going to share with you today is actually going to help you guys accelerate that as well. And for the guys that stay to the end, what I'm going to be giving you in an email as soon as we finish this are things that will probably answer some of your questions here today. So the first thing that I'll be sending you is a podcast checklist. if you already have a podcast, actually do me a favor. For the guys that already have a podcast, go ahead and type it in the chat. I have one. And for the people that want a podcast, I want one. And if you don't want a podcast at all, tell me why you're on the training, and that way I kind of know. I want one, great. I want one, great. Engaging, right? Where the frick is everyone else? I don't just want one. I need one. I like that. That's 3 of them so far. If you guys are listening to me without a pen and paper in hand and without like being distracted on a computer, on a phone, you're scrolling through other crap, like this just is not going to work for you. You might as well leave and wait until you can watch the recording, which you'll never end up watching. This is why I love the live setting. Best in fitness. Love it. I have one. I want one. Great. Appreciate you guys for sharing that. Okay, so we have a mixture of people that have one and want one. This will work for both, but for the first thing that I have that I'm going to send you at the end of this and let me know if this is cool, is I actually wrote down a podcast checklist of pretty much everything that I use that you'll want to have to be able to have a successful podcast. What equipment I use, everything like that. And you guys have any questions about it, you can actually just respond to the email I send you, but I put together a checklist for you. The second thing that I put together is I have 2 trainings that I want that really inspired me to do this in 2017, going into 2018. I had a guy named John Lee Dumas, who owns Entrepreneur on Fire. And I also had Pat Flynn, who owns Smart Passive Income. They came in and taught a small group of people who invested $10,000 why they should have a podcast, what's the best length of a show, what's the best type of content, how do you leverage it to make money and get affiliate deals and partnerships, how do you leverage it to make your own money. How many of you guys would want that training? $10,000 training, legitimately, every single person. Nobody's seen this training unless they invested money. Simple as that. And the people that saw it live invested $10,000. So that'd be Pat Flynn. I have the training and I have show notes breaking down on what they talked about when, already scribed out for you guys, along with a private Q&A that I did with John. And I want to be able to give that to you guys for free to kind of fill in the gaps of the things that I don't want to go over here today. And the reason why is I don't want to go through the nitty gritty of like, what mic should I use? What color logo should I have? Those are great things. And if you have questions about that in email, or if you have questions throughout this, I don't mind answering it, meaning what type of logo should you have in your podcast? What type of podcast name should you have, or something like that? But those are all things that are really irrelevant, and they won't actually matter in the grand scheme of things. They help, yet there's a lot of people out there that you can Google and get that stuff from. I'm going to share with you guys the stuff that people don't talk about, and then fill in the gaps with some other trainings for you guys. And so a few years ago, the reason I started a podcast, and why you guys probably will as well, is what I found is I was trying to figure out like what's the platforms that I want to go all in on that people really look up to. Like you have Facebook Live, you have Instagram, you have stories, you have YouTube, you have all these different things. And what I found through all my searching, and the reason why we went all in on a podcast was, one, I was great friends with John Lee Dumas and I saw that he was doing it. But the second thing that I saw was that people like to multitask. And if you look at video and what we're doing right now and how you can see me, yes, you can get more from it if you give me 100% of your attention. Yet, if you're trying to drive right now, or if you're trying to clean the house, or if you're trying to do something else, work out, you can't listen to me, right? Especially if I'm showing you something physical right here on video. Yet when it comes to audio, it's very easy to put it in your ears and to actually multitask, which is what this generation wants to do more than ever before. And so inside of some of those $10,000 trainings I'm going to give you, they'll show you like the average top podcast listened to is actually 45 minutes long. And the average listen time to a podcast is a lot longer than the way that people watch video, which is really, really cool. So this is going to be super high impact for you to actually get clients. And again, some of those trainings are going to go over how you can get affiliate deals, how you can go out there and actually make money through promoting your own stuff, how you can build a following ship. But I think the most important thing of a podcast is leverage. And what I mean by leverage was that this was the first thing that I wanted to do. I was like, okay, I don't have a big following. How can I create a almost manufactured success that then turns into true success? And I have a few friends that have done this and crushed it. But one of my friends, he leveraged the stuff that we're going to talk about here today to become one of the top ranked podcasts in the entire United States of America. And because that has leveraged it to get on big stage. And because he's gotten on these stages, he's actually become very successful. But it all was kind of in this weird, like loophole land of being able to leverage podcasts I'm going to show you how to do today. So I remember, again, I started the podcast in 2016, and I invested thousands of dollars to get help from my good friend, John Lee Dumas. So the things I'm going to share with you today, I've invested thousands of dollars to learn. And in this, I was like, what if I treated my podcast like a business? So that's going to be the first thing, is treating your podcast like a business and creating a short-term KPI that you're going to be able to use to grow your actual podcast. And those KPIs that you're actually going to go over, like what are the things that if you want to have a number one ranked podcast, if you want to grow up the ranks, if you want to get reviews, if you want to get known, if you're just starting a podcast, you have 8 weeks to be. KPI is a key performance indicator. What's the things that I know that I need to track to be successful? So a KPI of body fat loss would be inches and pounds, right? Like you'd keep track of the pounds that they've lost, possibly, or you keep track of the inches that they've lost off certain areas of their body. Or gaining muscle, maybe weight gained along with muscle size increase. Those would be key performance indicators that we're actually going in the right direction. So showing you guys that there's actually key performance indicators to make sure that your podcast is going in the right direction. And those key things that actually move the needle of a podcast most are these. Number one is going to be subscribers. Go ahead and type in the chat subscribers. Most people think that and teach that you just need downloads, and they only talk about downloads. And the problem with downloads is that if I have a show that maybe does, like I do, about 1 or 2 podcasts a week, depending if we're doing our power couple episodes, and my podcast is $1 Billion Body if you want to model any of the stuff and take a look at what we do. And basically, we do 1 to 2 shows every week. And the difference between subscribers and downloads is this. If you have a show and you put out a podcast every single day, and you have subscribers, let's say you have 1,000 subscribers, which is pretty big for most people, but 1,000 subscribers, well, every day, those subscribers are going to auto-download that episode, not including when people are going to go back to old episodes and download them as well. And so what that's going to do is give you about 30,000 downloads per month, which sounds pretty cool, right? You're like, oh, I have 1 million downloads, or I have 100,000 downloads on my podcast. Well, if one person only has 1 episode per month, with 1,000 subscribers, they're only going to have 1,000 downloads. So really, that person could have the same size show with the same size influence, yet they have the same amount of subscribers. They're just putting out more shows. And a lot of people focus on just talking about their downloads because of the fact that that's the one thing that they can show and manipulate to make them feel good about themselves and to make people think that they have a big show. But again, a lot of people out there that talk about this usually do daily episodes. And so because they do daily, there's a ton of episodes that people can download. And on top of the tons of episodes, there's people that are downloading the episodes every day if they're a subscriber. So the number one thing that's going to make your podcast move up the ranks to become number one and to be found is going to be through subscribers. The second thing that you're going to want to have is the reviews, 5-star reviews and actual rates. So a rate is when they give you 5 stars. A review is when they actually write something about it. You see this on Amazon as well. Amazon has you can 5-star rate it, or you can 5-star rate it and then leave a review, which is where you actually comment something. And you want your people to actually do this, but subscribers is number one mover. Second is going to be reviews and rates. And then lastly is going to be the actual downloads that you get. So I wouldn't worry so much about downloads, though it's still something that you get excited about. I'd more worry about how can I get more people to subscribe, hit the subscribe button. How can I get more people to write a review and to actually rate the podcast? Because that's going to make you look good. Imagine being on something like Amazon, like I said before, and you have 2 different podcasts that you can listen to. Maybe it's in the health space. Maybe it's in the education space. Maybe it's in the business space. Does not matter. So you're looking and you're like, okay, here we go. We have this guy who has 35 reviews, okay? And we have this guy that has 350 reviews. Who shows better? And in my mind, I'm going to go, well, this show must be better. It's just simple as that. And so there's a way to manufacture it, though, in a short amount of time that you can actually get these are real 5-star reviews, real comments back, but it's going to take a little bit of groundwork. And here's how we were able to do it without actually having any type of following. So just so you guys know, this is more of a teaching day for me. So I wrote all these notes to be able to go over with you guys. So I'm not going to be getting as sidetracked as normal. So the big thing for the new podcasters out there that haven't started yet, there's something called New and Noteworthy. And New and Noteworthy is something you can explore on your iTunes app or on your iTunes stuff on your computer. And you can actually go to browse podcasts, and you can find that there are new podcasts that are released in every single category. And this New and Noteworthy area is only allows you to be in there for 8 weeks. And this is the first place that you want to gain your prestige. So if you haven't started a podcast yet, or you're within this 8 weeks, you're going to want to make sure that you absolutely crush this. So New and Noteworthy allows you to be discoverable and also allows you to have a really good story. Yeah, new and noteworthy. That is correct. And New and Noteworthy can allow you to be discoverable by other people. So inside of New and Noteworthy, think about me. I had to put together like, okay, I'm going to start a podcast, but if I don't rank high, how am I supposed to meet new people? Like, I don't have a big following. So how do I really crush it in the first 8 weeks? And my goal was that I was going to become number one out of all the thousands of new podcasts in the first 8 weeks. And if you are number one, what happens is that when people go into the New and Noteworthy section, the new podcasts, they can see you as the top podcast to look at. And if it's a business podcast, or you have a good name that's intriguing, a good graphic, a good name, a good subject of what your podcast is, if people are interested in that, they're going to go click on it. They're going to go subscribe. They're going to go actually listen to the show, and they can become great clients. They can be good people that can leave a review. They can actually give you a 5-star rate. These are people that become now like your cult following. And every single day, there's people that join the $1 Billion Brotherhood Facebook group. If you guys don't know this, every day, the number one referrer, the number one reason why people join the Facebook group is from the podcast. It's the number one reason why people join the podcast or join the Facebook group is because of our podcast. And originally, the way we got our fuel to get big guests to be able to grow it is through doing what I'm teaching you guys right now. So subscribers is number one. A lot of people, like I said, say that you should focus on creating a show, putting out the content, and it'll grow naturally, and just post about it. Try to have the host post about it. How many of you guys have heard these things? Like, try to get other people to post it up and like all this crap. It doesn't work. And it's good. Like, you should do it, but it's not the stuff. Like, if you can focus on what I'm going to show you for about 30 to 60 days in your podcast, or if you're going to start one, create a plan and use these things for the first 30 to 60 days, you'll absolutely crush it. And I'll show you guys a couple scripts as well. So, okay, so I'm going to just give you guys an overview, and please ask me questions as I go, because this is a lot of stuff, but I just believe that you guys like can fully absorb this. Just write down notes and like fully engage with this right now. And do I think it's possible to integrate your hobby into a podcast? Absolutely. Whether you want to integrate your hobby into a podcast, I create a business podcast and still integrate my hobbies into it to show a piece of who I am. Or if I want to attract people that are into that hobby, yeah, you can make a podcast. Not everyone has to have a business related podcast. If you want to go create a following in a niche that's already out there, I have a Facebook pages and stuff like that about motocross, and they get like hundreds of likes every single day organically because there's already people that like motocross, and I'm giving them the stuff as a personal consumer myself that no one else is giving them because I'm a good consumer of motocross. I'm completely new to podcasts, both as a producer and a listener. Awesome. So Anton, I'll give you the sheet that you'll be able to just follow to launch it. It'll give you everything that you need to know to actually launch your podcast and what you should do beforehand and then in the first 8 weeks to become number one. How many categories maximum should we incorporate in our podcast? Typically 3 big categories, Noe, but these are things that are less important, but you do want to have relevant categories. The same way if you were to sell a book on Amazon, you're like, okay, it's kind of business, it's kind of lifestyle, it's kind of health, it's kind of relationship, like, figure out that thing. I have about 15 episodes live, and we have a few big fitness games we already have and working on getting. Yeah, awesome. So you have 15 episodes live. So this is the perfect time to like really ramp it up. This is going to be kind of like having tens of thousands of followers on Instagram like you do, Mo, and that way that you have this like prestige, and also it's like better chance to get found. So, okay. So I'm going to put myself in my shoes of where I was at a few years ago when I was launching the podcast and walk you through what we've done for someone like Chase, who just launched his podcast and already is going to have 105-star reviews in the first 7 days. I'm going to show you guys what we did for him that no one else is doing that we did. So we had the idea of starting the podcast. And so we got the logos done and we got like all this stuff done. We knew what we were going to do. And so the first thing you want to do and write down is that you want to have 3 episodes minimum ready to go on the very first day that you launch your show. So for the people out there that haven't launched yet, 3 episodes. And then after you launch those 3 episodes, boom, right there. Then what you're going to do after that is just go on your normal routine. It could be once a week. It could be twice a week. Doesn't matter. But you do want to stay consistent with the routine that you have because of the fact that people are going to look at you like you're a TV show. They're going to consume you like you're Billions on Sunday night. They're going to consume you like you're Game of Thrones on Sunday night. So what they're going to do is they're going to go check in on Tuesday at 5 a.m. when they're driving to work. And when they're consistency the same day every single week. If you're going to commit to one day, the same day. If you're going to commit to 2 days, the same day. Yes, launch it early in the morning before people get up. The average person is going to listen mostly in the morning when they're on their way to work and when they're on their way home. Like, it doesn't matter. So every Wednesday, then make it every Wednesday. Why? Because if Game of Thrones didn't come out on Sunday and they told me it was, I'd be freaking pissed. And so if you're going to be serious about creating a show, treat it as if you're a Game of Thrones. Treat it as if you're a Billions or a Breaking Bad or whatever you want to, whatever your favorite show is. Imagine if it didn't come out, how pissed you would be. And this was something that I struggled with. So start out with something that you can commit and not like go, oh, I'm going to do 5 interviews every single week and then like crap out on it. Start out with something you can be consistent. Start out with the 3 episodes. So you want to have episodes already recorded in the bank. And that could be around 12 episodes. And that way that you like kind of have a buffer to make sure that you always have something there that you, a buffer that you always have there so that if you're gone traveling that week, you have something in the bank. Does that make sense? New episodes every Tuesday, release new episode every Friday. Exactly. I'd be super pissed as well. And so what I did is I had everything that I'm going to give you in the podcast checklist done. And I was like, okay, how am I going to go out there and crush and become number one, get 100 5-star reviews? Like I have no following, right? And I was a terrible podcaster, guys. If you go back and listen to my first episodes, they're freaking terrible. I got called out on my very first episode saying that I did a bad job live on the show from a good podcaster. Like I was bad. And so, but we still crushed it. And here's what I did. So step number 1 is to find your tribe that's going to be a podcast launch actual team. So we created a podcast launch team, and you could actually just do a relaunch, or someone who's already has a episode already. It could be like a revamp. Like, hey, you want to be a part of my podcast relaunch team or be a part of your podcast launch team? And what I did is I reached out to friends. I posted on social media before launching, and I had people say that they were committing to subscribing, rating, reviewing, and sharing the podcast. So what I did is I grabbed all their emails, I put them into an email database, and I just emailed them as a group and just gave them updates on where we were at in the podcast, like leading up to it, letting them know when the launch date was. And if this is a relaunch for you, well, then great. Tell them when the relaunch is, when you're going to do the big push. And so I had a bunch of people, about 50 people, say that they were going to be a part of my podcast launch team. So I thought, okay, great. Like if they are a part of it, what do they have to do? The things you want them to do: subscribe, rate, review, and share. Subscribe, rate, review, and share. Subscribe, rate, review, and share. That's what you want them to do. And if they do that and they can show you that they did it, then they're going to get entered into a giveaway. And for 60 days, you want to do these giveaways as often as possible, minimum once a week. And in these once a week giveaways, you're going to have only the new people that subscribe, rate, review, and share. You can have everyone who's ever done it before in a hat, and you're going to raffle off giveaways: subscribe, rate, review, and share. And what this is going to do is you're going to allow yourself to either pre-record a video or do Facebook Lives, Instagram stories. Like you can distribute this on every platform that you want. But I highly suggest that you try to push people to one platform. So if you're going Facebook Live as your way to do the giveaway, post on Instagram, LinkedIn, every platform that you can, email that you're going live at a certain time for a giveaway. And typically, if you're going to do them every week, that'd be over $600 in or over $800 in gift cards. So typically what I did is I looked, like if you're anything like me, like where I was at, I just looked at my office and I looked at my house and I saw like when I had bought like 10 Gary Vee books because he asked people to do it and I wanted attention. or I was trying to enter into a giveaway myself. So what did I do? I bought 10 of his books. So what did I do in the giveaways? I would typically have 3 winners. People are more likely to get on your giveaways if you don't have just 1 winner, but 3. So you could do book giveaways. You could give away some physical product. Like I would reach out maybe to some companies that are relevant to my niche, and I would ask them for donations, a couple donations of product, and then they get promoted the entire time. I don't pay for any of these. Like they send me them all the time because I always promote them in our stuff, and that our guys always buy their stuff. Yeah, so protein shakes. Hey man, like I would love to promote your guys' protein shake. I know that it doesn't cost you $60. If you want me to buy it for cost, that's cool. But what I would love to do is I'm looking for people that actually fit with my brand. I would love to do a raffle and a giveaway and put you in front of hundreds or thousands of eyes. I have a number 1 ranked show that we're about to hit, right? Like you're about to have a number 1 ranked show, or you're going to show them how many reviews that you've been getting on your show. And so normally these companies will donate to you, and then you can give them away for free. And it makes you look good, and it fits with your brand, and also it promotes them. So it's total win-win. If not, go out there and if you're lazy, get some Starbucks gift cards, go out there and just, throw some money at it, grab some books, make it fun. And typically, like I said, if you're going to do a $20 Starbucks gift card, nah, dude, just do 3 $5 Starbucks gift cards and pick 3 winners. Like that's way cooler because people think they have a higher chance of winning. And so what you're going to do is create your podcast launch team, and that'll be your friends. That's like your first key people. And the reason why you have the giveaways is because most of your friends won't do crap. But now you have like a little email database of people that have committed to helping you subscribe, rate, review, and share. All of us inside of our phone book, inside of our Facebook Messenger, inside of our Facebook friends list, inside of our followers on Instagram, inside of our Rolodex that we have that's paper that's from like 50 years ago. All of us have phone numbers of people in there that we can get them on this train to be able to actually think that they're a part of a movement with being a part of the podcast. So you want people to feel like they're a part of the growth of the show. And so what we do is, like, let's say now you have your podcast launch team. You know that every week minimum you're going to be doing your giveaways on Facebook Live that you're going to tell everyone to get on. You're going to pull out 3 winners. Cough, BDB, yep. You're going to find 3 winners, right? And people are going to be so excited about it. And during the times when you're drawing the winners out, what are you doing the entire time? Oh, if you guys haven't checked out the podcast, like, go check it out. I put it in the comments. So you're just having a reason to shamelessly promote your podcast for the 60 days. Now, I don't think you guys are going to have to do this at all past 30 to 60 days. Why? Because once you build the momentum in a short amount of time, it becomes a lot easier. You have a bunch of reviews. You have a bunch of recognition. Now you can go back into the flow and start producing money from the following ship that you've created. But at first, you want to go hard using that 90% of fuel like a rocket. A rocket says that it takes 90% of its fuel to leave the Earth's atmosphere. Same type of thing with the podcast. So now let's say I have 3 podcasts that are ready to go. I have 12 of them in the bank ready to go as well, so that I'm not going to get behind schedule. I've created a podcast launch team where I've posted and promoted for maybe 7 days, asking people to join my podcast launch team. If you're good at making a landing page, make an opt-in, like that they're committing to do it. If not, tell them to drop a comment below saying that they're in, and then message them and ask for their email, and then send them an email. So now you got all these people that are excited for the day that you're launching or relaunching the podcast. This isn't even the best part. The best part to me is the fact that right when you launch it, you have all these people that are subscribe, rate, review, share, subscribe, rate, review, share, right? So you're feeling all this momentum. You're seeing your downloads every single day. You're seeing your 5-star reviews and your actual comments coming every day. But let's say that you're like the guy that has no following at all. This is where we really crushed it. 1, there's a lot of people on this podcast, a lot of people in this training right now that have a podcast. You can do a switch, a rate review for rate review. Like, you can do a swap that you'll go subscribe, rate, review their podcast, and they'll come do it to yours. And there's actually quite a few Facebook groups out there, or people inside of Facebook groups that have a podcast. And if you were to message them and say, hey man, I just subscribed, rated, and reviewed your podcast, would love if you could do and go check out mine and do the same. Like, a review for review is a very popular thing to do. It's not a bad thing. And a lot of times you could get clients actually to be like, go and consume the content. And that was one of the things that I definitely utilized was I went out there and did it first. Like I would go to these podcast groups and I'd say, what's your favorite podcast? And you know what they all say? They all say their own podcast because they're podcasters and they're selfish. So they all say their own podcast. And I go, dude, awesome. I just checked it out. I just left you a 5-star rate and review for you, man. Great job. And then I send them a personal message and say, hey, man, I would love if you could do the same for me. And I send them the link. And then if they don't get back to me, I follow up. I say, hey, man, I want to make sure you got my last message. So review for review is super big. And there's podcasting groups out there that actually already do this. They usually call it like Pay It Forward Friday. The problem you'll run into, though, is that you'll give them your link and no one will review your podcast. Why? Because everyone wants everyone else to review their crap without doing anything for you. So what you're going to want to do is go review their podcast, rate, review, subscribe, and you could always unsubscribe later. And then you want to drop a comment reply back to them and say, hey man, just finished doing yours. Hit me back with a 5-star rating review on mine. So yeah, you're giving value first because they'll usually return the favor. They just won't give the favor because most people are losers. And so that's why they're losing is because they suck. And I'm just kidding, by the way. And then you can unsubscribe later. Yeah, exactly. I mean, you can, like, you're helping them out, but you don't need to keep being subscribed to their show sucks. So Pay It Forward Friday, too much of a Red Sea. No, Pay It Forward Friday is great if people have it. And the reason why is because it just gives you like social proof. It's like asking for all your friends to follow you on Instagram, whether they like Instagram or not. But I'm always serious, Noe, by the way. So Pay It Forward Friday is great. One of the communities that I saw that was very powerful for this, and I don't even have an affiliate link for this, I wish I did, is John Lee Dumas's Podcaster's Paradise. I think they have a monthly membership version of it now. And if they still have Pay It Forward Friday in there, I would definitely highly suggest joining it for at least the 30 days and going in there and rating and reviewing everyone's freaking show and asking them to do the same to get as many reviews back as possible, especially if you have no following right now. So here's the next thing that I did that's just like no one ever talks about. So first off, everyone talks about just launching your show, focusing on putting out more episodes to get more downloads, yet almost no show breaks 100 5-star reviews. And Chase is going to break 100 5-star reviews in 7 days. You guys can break 100 5-star reviews in just 100 days, even if you've never been on Facebook before and never met anyone virtually. One of the things that you can do is, of course, you can create a copy-paste text that says, hey, I just launched my podcast. We're looking to become #1 ranked in our not arena, but category. And would highly appreciate if you could give us a 5-star rate and review and subscribe to the show and check it out. That's a great script to send people, especially if you already know them or have given them something before. Then if they don't get back to you, what you do is the second script is to send them a message and say this: just wanted to make sure that you got my last message. Nobody doesn't answer that. Like, everyone answers that. Nobody will be like, oh man, like, what am I supposed to say now? Like, they'll go, oh yeah, sorry, I missed that. And you'll go, great. Like, let me know when you get that done. Like, have an ask for friends. Like, they're going to be a part of something, right? And so unless you're just an asshole. Yeah, if you're an asshole, then people probably won't do it. But it's a very easy thing to do, especially if you go look at a way that you could go help other people first. But here's how we really killed it. Here was like a secret sauce that we had. How many of you guys right now get friend requests or you get new friends on Facebook on a daily basis or every other day minimum, and you get new followers on Instagram and stuff like that, right? Friend requests every day. Exactly. So here's what I did. If you're at 5,000 friends, you'll have to go through your current people that are engaging with your stuff and whatever. But if you have some room to accept some new people, or if you want to just go through the people that sent you a friend request, this is what I did daily. I went on a walk, I put in my headphones, and I had a script that is like a freaking gold mine. I used an audio message And I said it every single time because I knew it'd have a higher chance of getting responded to. So they didn't think I was spamming them. And I had follow-up messages to make sure they did what I wanted them to do. And this is the script that I would use, and it's recorded. And I still know it to this day. Let me use Mo. I'm going to use Mo as my friend. So I'd have my phone. I'd have my headset in. I would go to Facebook Messenger, or I'd accept them as a friend. In my Facebook Messenger, it would say like new contact or new friend. And then I'd go back to all of them and I would say, hey, Mo, how's it going, man? So great to be able to connect here on Facebook. Man, I would love to know what made you send the request over. And dude, if you could, I would love to know what is your number one focus and passion right now. My number one focus and passion is actually I launched a podcast and we're trying to become ranked number one in our industry. I would actually love it, man, if you could quickly subscribe, rate, and review it with 5 stars. But again, man, send me over more about what you do. Looks like you're up to some really great stuff. Send me over a site because I'm really interested in it. And man, I'll send you a link to be able to get that podcast thing done. And I would just like basically that same script over and over again. And what I call it is the sandwich script. I first off, they're sending you the friend request. So they're the one who sent you a request and you just accepted it. So that means you already have leverage on them rather than the opposite. So I say, hey man, thanks for sending over the request, dude. Like, what made you send it over? Tell me a little bit more about like what your number one focus and passion is right now. That's the first sandwich. Second sandwich. Hey man, my number one focus and passion right now, which now you have permission because you just asked for his, is I just launched a podcast and we actually are looking to become number one. We've already, like, you tell them the progress you made. And I would love if you could actually give us go subscribe, rate, review with 5 stars. I'll send you the link to it to make it super easy. But again, send me more about yourself and your site because I'm super interested in learning more about who you are. So you got this like sandwich where it's all about them and they sent you a request and you're super interested in learning about them. You have the sandwich where you're telling them what to do and what your agenda is. And then you re-soften the blow and make them forget about what you just said, but feel bad for not doing it because they're going to send you over something now, right? They're going to send you over their website. They're going to send you over their stuff that they do and are interested in. And so what this does is it psychologically gets them to want to, one, go click on that link because they're going to send you their stuff. They want the best chance of you checking it out. And so what I did is I took about 40 minutes every day, every single day. I went on a walk. I went to my new Facebook friends. I added them as a friend. I went to Instagram, looked at my new followers. I went to whatever platform it was, and I went and I sent them the message. What would happen? Would everyone go rate and review my show? Nope. Not at all. So what I would do is anyone who would respond back and said that they did it, they were entering into the giveaway, right? So I was like, dude, we're going to be doing a giveaway. Like you have all that excitement, right? Of like doing the giveaways and winning all the stuff. But on top of that, a lot of people, let's say I messaged 100 of them, 92 of them probably won't say crap. This is where most people fail. I would go back through all 92 every day before I'd go on my walk, or 20 people. And I would go back through those people and I would say, hey man, just want to make sure you got my last message. Just want to make sure you got my last message. Just want to make sure you got my last message. Copy, paste, copy, paste, copy, paste, all the way to the top. So every day I would just do those couple messages and then I'd go on my walk and I would go talk to the new people. And put call in is probably because we sent out too many emails that it dripped out in session. So how many guys right there? So right now at this point, whether you're relaunching or launching a podcast, these are really big things. The last thing that I think what really crushed it for us, and I'll do a little bit of a recap and do some Q&A since we're already 43 minutes in, was that I remember doing a podcast launch party. You send it as a voice message always, Noe, but for the follow-up is a text message. And when you send them the link to your show, it's also a message, like text. And did you get my last message is always a text as well. So it's easier, copy, paste, really simple. Because a lot of people listen to your voice message and just forget. So like a lot of them will say, I'm so sorry. Because you'll be like, hey man, I want to make sure you got my last message. I really wanted to know what the hell you do. Like you're super interested, right? So like if people are busy, you're really capturing the right place. So the last thing you're going to want to do is during this 60-day push, right? Like in 30 days, you get 100 reviews. Literally, you can get 200 if you want to. In 60 days, you'll be recognized as a person who has over 200 5-star reviews. That'll definitely get you the subscribers, and it'll get you the rates and reviews that will have you become a #1 ranked podcast or a chance to be able to do it. And on top of that, forever, you'll be able to say you're a #1 ranked podcast. You'll be able to say the amount of 5-star reviews that you have to get the best people on your show, begging. Every single day, we get like 2 to 10 people that request to be on our show. That's like 60 to 300 people a month that request to come on the show because they've seen what we've done. And that is always like super big. Anton says, so I ignore Facebook Messenger because I get so many messages every day. Do I start answering them? I get some weirdo mixed with the good guys. Anton, this should be a good reason to, if they really like what you do, you could skip the weirdos, but you could just send them a message like to the people that seem like they'd be a good fit for the podcast and just be like, hey man, like I actually have a show. I can't get back to all my Facebook messages, but I would love to know more about what you're up to, man. But I actually have a show called blank. And I would love if you could go give it a 5-star rate and review and also subscribe to it. And then send me over some more stuff about what you're doing, man. Would love to connect. Like just something like that. And I genuinely do like want to know what people sell and stuff. Like I've posted on Facebook before and I'm like, what's your product? Like I just felt like buying stuff that day. The crappy part is that most people just have a really shitty product. And like, it's so tough. I go post on my Facebook and I go, I want to buy stuff right now. What's your product? Drop it below. And I go through and like, I can only find like 2 out of 100 things that are even worth buying. And I'm trying to buy stuff like for fun to be able to like invest in people. Just most people's products suck. Where and how do you and Amanda find the time for all this interaction with actually producing content, etc.? Time blocking, man. And really like the focus of what works. Like for this podcast, it's all about like a 30-day to a 60-day sprint. So what I would do is I would go, okay, I want to run this play that Nicholas is talking about. What are all the things he said? What are my goals and what do I want to achieve in the 30 days? How much would I have to do weekly and daily to be able to do that? And what tasks would I need to do daily to be able to hit that goal? And you write it up, and every day you go through that checklist. You're like, okay, did I get my things done that are going to achieve my daily tasks, my weekly tasks, my monthly task? And that's what we did with the Facebook group. This same exact thing is what we did to take our Facebook group from 1,200 people, and we were like super strict about it, to over 2,000 people in 30 days. And that means every person had to actually put in there like what business they own, why they're joining the group, who referred them, and what their email is. So I got over like 700 emails in this 30 days of ideal clients because they were usually referred to the group by using the same exact strategies. But what did I do? I said, I want 2,000 people in the group. I have 1,200 now. And how many people a day do I need to get in the group? How many people a week do I need to get in the group? And what do I need to do daily to be able to get there? And what actions can I take daily to make that result possible? And then we did them every single day, and we kind of course corrected as we went. We proved the path so that we could show you guys what you should do every single day to be able to get to where you want to be. So appreciate it. Good question. And Anton, literally all I do for podcasting after those 30 to 60 days of crushing it, become #1. This is all I do with podcasting. I show up here. I sit there and ask people questions, and then I get off my podcast and I'm done. Why? Because I learned how to edit podcasts one time, and I created a system on a checklist of everything they need to do. Now my assistant, she edits the podcast. She uploads the podcast. She does everything. All I do is show up. I don't even book the guests. I don't do anything. I just show up for the 30 minutes, ask some cool questions, have a good time, build a connection, and then I leave and I never touch it. So the only things that I would recommend you guys doing that's a waste of time are things that you can create a system out of or duplicate later. Like this training can be used for tons of things. So even though I'm here delivering the service, I can repurpose this in a lot of different ways. Again, for you guys, if you have things that you can't repurpose, if you're editing your own podcast, I would highly suggest that you create and train, like create a system, show people what you do, create a checklist, and film yourself editing your podcast and what you want done, and then have someone trained to do it. My normal podcast is 30 to 45 minutes. And in the 10K training that I'm going to give you guys, Pat Flynn breaks down the analytics of all the top podcasts and the average length of the top downloaded shows. So that'll be awesome. Some of the unexpected side effects is that I have a #1 ranked show forever. I could say that I was top 33 in the nation in the health category, in the business category. I have over 200 5-star reviews that we got like this, like super quick, even though like our podcast wasn't amazing and I didn't have a following. And so all those things will stick with me forever. Like it'd be like launch, like right now you guys have the toolkit to basically become a New York Times bestselling author. And then even if your book never sold again, like you're still a New York Times bestselling author. And it allows you to leverage to get on stages, allows you to leverage to put on your website. Like it allows you to have leverage to like have perception in people's eyes. So they buy your guys' stuff. And when they buy it, they get a transformation because you guys are good people. So the last thing that I want to say for everyone out there who's okay with being extroverted, this is part of the process. Actually, this is for everyone. Don't be a bitch. So the last thing we did is I created a podcast launch party, and this was local. And what I did is I created a Facebook event, and I invited a bunch of people to the Facebook event that were local, and I hyped up a podcast launch party. I had balloons. I made it seem like it was a business launch, like it was a new home that I had moved into. I was like, podcast launch party, BDB podcast is launching. And I got a bunch of pictures. I got a bunch of people excited. I did giveaways. I had like a bunch of cool stuff, like, business shower. And I created this podcast launch party that was kind of like a meetup for my podcast. And I had everyone posting about the podcast. I had everyone subscribe, rating, reviewing, and sharing. I was doing giveaways. So just imagine you have 50 people show up or 20 people show up. Boom, you have 20 people that are all talking about your podcast, 20 5-star rates, reviews, and subscribers downloading episodes. And this created so much fun, like content, like pictures I could share. It showed that there was like real stuff going on. Like people could take pictures with you and like makes you seem like super badass. So if you could do these few things, and I'm going to send you the checklist, I'm going to send you these other trainings. If you could do these few things right here, knowing that subscribers are #1, rates and reviews are #2 for getting you to rank higher, but they're big for getting you to have prestige and perception in people's eyes for a reason to actually listen to your show. Like if you have 1,000 5-star reviews, like people are going to listen to your show. And ultimately from there, the goal is to create a podcast launch team, friends that will support you, that will subscribe, rate, review, and share. The next step is you're going to be putting together giveaways every week for 60 days of 3 different giveaways each time that you're going to draw on behalf of people that subscribe, rate, review, and share. And that's going to allow you to selflessly promote your podcast, right? It's like shameless little plugs where you can promote your podcast every time. You're going to create a podcast launch locally where you're at, a meetup about your podcast where you take pictures and have everyone subscribe, rate, review, and share, like talk about your show. And you have evidence that there's real people and like real stuff going on. And then the big thing from there is doing the review for review. And the last thing that was most important that everyone can do is if you don't have the following, you don't have the list, you don't have the people to commit to it, like you don't have thousands and thousands of followers, but if you do, that's great too, is that you can go through and do the hard work. I can go through here right now. I'll actually do one. Let me find someone. Hey, Eddie, I appreciate the message, man. I actually just sent you a link to the $1 Billion Body podcast, man. I really believe that you should check that out. Based on what you said, it's be amazing for you. And if you do me a favor, man, hit that subscribe button and then rate and review it. There's actually a place where you give us a 5-star rate and then actually write a review. And that would mean the world to me, man. And again, send me over more about what you're doing. We'd love to get to know you better. I actually just sent this to the kid. So if people are asking you questions and you've been giving them value, you can ask. But if you don't have any friends, and that's okay, like I didn't have that many friends, I had to go out there and meet new people on Facebook, accept their friend request, and the only leverage I had was that they sent me a request. I didn't send them one. So I'd be like, hey man, we'd love to know about what you do, what your #1 focus and passion is right now. My #1 focus and passion is my podcast. We're actually trying to become #1 ranked. It would mean the world to me if you could subscribe, rate, review, and share. I'll actually just send you the link, but again, send me more about your stuff. Does that make sense? And he just saw it. He's typing. Watch. Thank you so much. I'm on it right now. You guys see that? Another 5-star review, bitches. I'm just kidding. I could say that here, right? So now I'm going to go to my podcast, $1 Billion Body. Click. I'm going to click on it. So imagine this, like, how many of you guys right now feel like you got value from this training? Because to me, this is just like normal life. So like, I don't even know if people like this stuff. Lots of value, 100%. Cool. Send him. So I took the podcast link and I just sent it to him, and that way that he could easily click. Cool. Gonna go subscribe. So one thing I would love for you guys to do, just so I practice what I preach, I would love if you guys could whip out your phone, if you guys have an iPhone, while we're just live real quick, and that way that people that are watching the replay can laugh. I would love if you guys could actually head to your podcast app. And if you're on Galaxy, we're on Spotify. If you could subscribe, like the interviews I've been doing lately are freaking dope. So I already know my podcast is badass. But if you guys could leave a 5-star rate real quick, and then if you guys could just leave a quick review, like quickly leave a review. And even if it's just about this training, that'd be dope. I never do this at all anymore. But because I kind of want to practice what I preach, I want to show you that if you guys are giving value online, yeah, I'm on Spotify, but I'd rather have you guys do it on iTunes if you have an Apple device. And so it's called the $1 Billion Body. I'll type it in right now. And let me know when you guys go on iTunes, type in $1 Billion Body, click on our podcast, subscribe, rate, and then write a quick review. Let me know when you're done with that. The reason why I want to share that with you guys is because if you guys are out there giving value like I just did, you have the ability to have an ask. And when you do this for 30 to 60 days, if you're a new podcast, 60 days, if you've already been out, you can do it for 30 because, again, new and noteworthy is for the 60 days, 8 weeks. If you guys do it for the short sprint and all your call to actions are to help you on this podcast, you'll become a #1 ranked show. You'll have over 100 5-star reviews in 30 days, and you will now have something like a New York Times bestselling author, #1 bestselling author, as a platform that you can use forever to get guests and to look good when you're on stage. Like you can leverage it for millions of things. Let me know when you guys have that done. I don't even know where this came from. That this is a party aid. Apparently it helps with hydration because people, when they party, they don't hydrate, apparently. Dude, I would love if I could bust out pull-ups in here. Actually, that'd be a dream come true. I need, oh, dude, thank you for that. I'm going to get a pull-up machine or like a rack and get pull-ups and dips in the office. Dog, I'm about to show you. Here, I'll send you a link real quick. I appreciate you guys staying late. I just had to practice what I preach. I didn't even plan this, but if you guys are giving value to people, like I said, you can have an ask, and that ask for 30 to 60 days is going to be your podcast. Subscribe, rate, review, and share. Now, I just wanted you guys to subscribe, rate, review, and when you guys listen to a good show, share it. But ultimately, like that's the power of being able to go out there and have a call to action that has one focus for 30 days. When I was trying to grow the Facebook group, I only had one call to action for 30 days. Get in the Facebook group, get in the Facebook group. Every email, everything that I did was all get into the Facebook group. And so if you guys can use your podcast as the #1 thing for 30 days to get those reviews and to look good, you'll be freaking styling, and then you won't really have to do it again for like a long time. I just dropped the podcast link right there. Awesome. 5-starred and reviewed. Awesome. I appreciate you guys so much. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually save this recording for you guys. I'm going to send you guys a podcast checklist. I'm also going to send you guys those 2 videos that, again, people invested $10,000 to be able to see. And also anyone that I've done this training for, I've always had them invest $1,500 for the 30 minutes that I do it. And so I've done about 3 of them now. I think 3 that were just for the podcast stuff. And I just realized that this was something that worked. Like, it's working for Chase. It's worked for so many of my other friends. And for people that really want to go out there and do this, this works. And could you guys see that if this was a Facebook page review, like with 5 stars, if this was a Yelp review, this was Google reviews, could you see that you can use the same framework of giveaways, of go do these things and you can get entered to win, messaging people to go leave a review, and actually giving value and then having an ask, having a short sprint of time that you gain massive amounts of reviews so you can have authority. This will work on every single platform. And this was something that I discovered through super freaking hard work. Again, this was 2016 that we launched the podcast. We had no clue what we were doing. We just followed what John Lee Dumas said, which was in the launch strategy that I just told you guys, 3 episodes and all that, having a few in the bank and exchanging reviews was something that they taught. But we got over 100 5-star reviews just through doing the giveaways and through messaging people personally with no following. So I absolutely know that you guys are all going to absolutely crush this, that you guys have more of a following than I ever did. You're way further ahead than I ever was, and you just got the best information that I've found out there. If I thought someone else could teach this better, I would totally tell them to go do it and to show you guys. But because I truly believe that no one's doing this, your guys' number one focus should be, if you don't have a podcast, your number one focus should be, how can I follow the checklist? How can I get and lay the foundation and get some interviews in the bank so that they're very easy to start launching? Then when you launch it, you're going to have your in-person party. It's going to be the podcast launch freaking party. It's going to be awesome. You're going to have the people that'll be on your podcast launch team, subscribe, rate, review, share. You're going to do your giveaways. And for 60 days, it's going to be your number one call to action. You guys will absolutely murder it. When I send this actual email out, I would love if you guys could let me know if you have any questions. And for the next 5 minutes, real quick, if you guys have any questions, drop them below just so I can get like a lot of them knocked out while I'm on here. And if this was valuable to you guys, 1, ask the question. I thank you guys so much. And the number one focus for us right now is strictly BDB Live. And one thing I would love to share with you guys is I just came out with a promo code that I just typed in the chat. It's Brotherhood20, super easy to remember. And it gives people $200 off of a VIP ticket. No one here is paid more than what we give people a discount. I don't do that kind of crap. But I wanted to keep it in the Brotherhood only, like your friends and like birds of a feather. This isn't promoted to outdoor people. I could show you guys people that have already paid over $1,000 for their VIP ticket because they didn't use the promo code because they didn't have it. And what I would love is to, if this was valuable, if you feel like you could go create a podcast, you feel like go make money, if you feel like you can get the things that you want out of this training, it would mean the world to me if you guys could go into the $1 Billion Brotherhood Facebook group and just share the value of this, what you got from it, the excitement, and just make a quick post, whether it's video or whether it's written, to inspire the other attendees to actually watch this so that they can get value, so that they know how to launch a show. And so it would mean the world to me if you guys could go over to the $1 Billion Brotherhood Facebook group right after this. That promo code has nothing really to do with right now. But if you just quickly make just a quick text, picture, video, and if you guys are committed to that, if you could just drop a quick comment, and that way I know what guys are committed to that. If you guys could go do that real quick, that'll inspire them to be able to watch this, and we'll also show like the value of these types of calls and being able to connect together. So let me know in the comments if you guys are down to be able to do that, and let me know if you have any questions before I jump off. Looks like I missed a question. Let me see. So whenever you relaunch a podcast, is that also put you in the new and noteworthy section? So no, you'd have to create a new podcast to be in the new and noteworthy section. If you revamp a podcast you already had, your goal is going to be to grow as fast as possible, get 5-star reviews, and move up the rankings as fast as possible, or start a new show. But if you really haven't done anything with your show, you've been doing it for a long time, maybe starting a new show would be a great restart for you if you haven't really done anything with an existing show. Yes, I'll send you a list of equipment as well. Absolutely. We'll post something. You always over deliver. Thanks so much, man. So I'll be giving you guys a checklist of the mic that I use right here. Super easy. And we use Zoom to record. Also super easy. So awesome, guys. Well, appreciate you so much. I hope you guys enjoyed. You rated, you commented. Thank you guys so much for that. You guys can head over to the $1 Billion Brotherhood Facebook group right now. I'm actually going to head over there as well and start commenting on your guys' stuff. Just say something cool about this training, whatever you feel led to say, whether it's video, picture, written. Let's make the other guys actually watch this. And then on top of that, make everyone else in the Brotherhood that's been slacking, that's been a fence sitter, actually get information like this that they can actually apply and actually works and makes money and it actually grows their stuff. So appreciate you guys so much. If you guys have any other questions, just reply to the email I'm going to send you. It'll have this recording, 2 other recordings with famous people, and then also a checklist for you guys. Thank you guys so much. Have a great rest of your night. We just freaking crushed it. Now, please go take action on this. And the regular $1 Billion Brotherhood Facebook group is the one that I would love. Thanks so much, guys. Peace.